I've been spending this past 2 days watching from the back every one of you amazing one young world. And there was a time when I was telling Sabrina I was giving up hope of finding solutions for all the problems that are happening now. But with all you here, I really find that we still have hope. And thank you to Kate and David for what you're doing, really. Thank you. I've met Sabrina Vetter just half an hour ago, and I felt I know you from a long, long time. I don't believe in coincidences. There's always a cause for everything. And when we were talking, I was asking you why you're doing what you're doing. And she said, well, I have passion for people, and I want to make a difference. I want to make this place a better world. And Sabrina Vetter, she studied international business law. She's working with Siemens now. And she was telling me the story how it all started. And it's in 2008 when Siemens had a corruption issue in Brazil. And it was very big. And you know, Siemens has around 400,000 people all over the world in 190 countries in the world. So it was going to be very difficult for Siemens to continue if they didn't do something about that. So in 2009, Sabrina became part of, as an internship you were doing there. And they created the collective action team. This collective action team, where she's working now with two other people, there are three, they are working for transparency, to find ways of meeting the public, the private, and the civil society, the NGOs, working together for doing transparency. Now Siemens is doing really well. They are doing amazing things, especially in alternative energy, in building a electric transport, doing incredible things for the people. And that's what we were talking about with Sabrina, that what are we doing? If we are elected officials in government, it's to serve. If companies do it, it's for profit. But if you don't see the profit for the people and working together, you can never find a solution that it's positive. It always will be negative. It's also like wars, like peace is more difficult than war. It's easier to make war, but it's more difficult to create peace. And so we have to work always together, the private, the public, and the civil society, in order to have success stories like Siemens. She will tell you better. I'm amazing but what you have in your story, what it is. So please, Sabrina Vetter with you from Germany.
Corruption hits poor people the hardest. Imagine you cannot afford to pay a bribe requested by a teacher to enroll you at school, and your education will be blocked. Similarly, imagine you cannot afford to pay a bribe requested by an official at a driving school. You may never acquire a driver license, which could further block your job opportunities. Corruption brings us to the real cause of poverty, because it simply hinders an individual, a society, and a country from realizing its economic potential. Corruption is a problem that is ever present, touches all of us, and can only be tackled by joint action. We call it collective action. The idea is to engage multiple stakeholders from private sector, public sector, the civil society, and to interconnect them and to make them to act in concert. An important driving force for collective action is our Siemens Integrity Initiative, which is part of comprehensive settlements with the World Bank and the European Investment Bank. We are supporting over 50 anti-corruption projects in over 20 countries. In the last 3 years, I've been realizing that it's really collective action which trigger the much-needed change of ethical behavior and policy reform. So let me give you an example how effective collective action can be. In Egypt, for example, corruption is seen as the 5th biggest obstacle for doing business. Furthermore, at least 40% of the population perceives that most of the government officials are corrupt. And for that reason, we support the Cairo University in Egypt, with which we aim at contributing to raise a new generation, a generation which is committed to say no to corruption, and therefore to help to end corruption. And the success about this project is that after 4 years of project implementation, students now tell us that they stop paying bribes to the policemen instead of the traffic fines. And moreover, one graduate who was asked to pay a bribe when he applied for some official papers for his military draft did not only refuse to pay a bribe, but also reported, brave enough, this incident so that an investigation and further action was taken. You might now ask how this behavioral change among the Egyptian students has been achieved. And from my perspective and experience, it's a combined approach of research, collective leadership, and education. With research, the students of the Cairo University, together with the professors, they try to identify the most vulnerabilities in the environment. And then they demonstrated collective leadership by championing and officially committing to their own code of ethics. After that, the project went over from collective leadership to education, and the knowledge of corruption and transparency has been integrated into the students' academia curricula so that the students have been able to even better apply integrity and promote integrity. What we need are more of such good projects. And therefore, I'd like to call everyone to inspire others to act collectively. It doesn't necessarily have to be such a project. Simply saying no to corruption can contribute to fight it. So finally, let me inspire you and give you some simple ideas how you personally can say no. Raise awareness. Engage other peers and discuss the cost of corruption in your country. Help to spread the word and also share the negative and the positive stories you've experienced or you listened to. And encourage the implementation of anti-corruption principles in your organization. Ask yourself and your colleagues, does your organization have a code of ethics, a compliance system? What is the ton from the top, from your management in terms of integrity? Dear friends, the young leaders, we have the opportunity and the responsibility to join forces to fight corruption and bring the issue to a wider audience. If we can succeed in at least sensitizing our peers about how to deal with corruption, this can lead to the last generation that accepts corruption to be a normal or even acceptable state of affairs. Simply say no